The Future Saga Chapter DLC have gone out of their way to use antagonists from Dragon Ball Super to make up their roster. Again, a great example of this is Vegeta, Goku Black, Jiren, Broly, Frieza, Belmod, and actually one other character that's been entirely skipped despite being the final boss of his own arc in Dragon Ball Super. And the most glazed character in Xenoverse 2 history. Yes, I am talking about Hit. Hello everyone, it's me again, Steve Doja here, back to more Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, and this time on Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, I wanted to talk to you guys about the Future Saga antagonists and how they are basically just all Dragon Ball Super antagonists. Now, we already know we're gonna get Ultra Superhero Goku, and obviously Ultra Super Villain Supreme Captain, who might not be playable. Again, this is working off the premise that so far, the description of the DLC is that there's only one new playable character, which I don't believe. I do believe there's going to be more than one. We've never had a DLC with just one playable character. It doesn't even matter if this is the last DLC. On the off chance that there is more playable characters, which is, again, extremely likely based on how every other DLC is gone, I do believe we'll be getting more than just one, and it's not just going to be Goku and Supreme Kai of Time. They have done 3, 4, and even 5 characters in these DLCs before. So I'm chipping in to say we have a few more Ultra Super Villains on the way. And Hit is one of the best examples of one. And I want to talk about why Hit's one of the best examples of one by going through the other Ultra Super Villains that came before him. Now I'm going to start with the first Ultra Super Villain we ever got, or the first one we ever got teased to us, which was Ultra Super Villain, you know, Super Saiyan God Vegeta. And the reason why he is the first one is because he's supposed to be the Battle of Gods stand-in. Beerus can't obviously be affected by the Ultra Super Villain power-up because, you know, gods are just immune to it, except Supreme Kai of Time, which is weird, but, you know, Beerus has always been that Dragon Ball character. So Vegeta is his stand-in. That makes sense. The Goku Black arc has Goku Black be the Ultra Super Villain. It doesn't have to be Fused Zamasu or Base Zamasu. It can just be Goku Black, that's fine. And for the Golden Frieza Saga, or Resurrection F, we do have, again, Golden Frieza. They did change him the most because he became a God of Time instead, which is obviously very unique and very different. And when we go to the final arc of Dragon Ball Super, the Tournament of Power, we have Jiren as an Ultra Super Villain. Again, we always get one from, you know, all these major arcs, and it's always the main antagonist or the final guy that you basically fight in the arc. Belmod came alongside Jiren. He's antagonistic, but he's not like a final boss. I did want to mention him, by the way, because he does kind of prove that they are just adding in antagonists or the final version of like a playable character with a super power-up. They are trying to do that because we already have all the heroes playable in the game. We even got 18 and Videl back in Future Saga Chapter 1, so there's no more good guys to add. That's why they added base transforming Broly and transforming DBS Broly. Pretty much they're completely out of good guys, so they're just adding in as many bad guys as possible now. And even though Hit is a good guy, he is still the final antagonist of the Universe 6 tournament arc. And the reason why I still think Hit could be a great candidate for this is because on top of the fact that we know Bandai Namco Dims loves Hit, objectively speaking, they like this guy a lot. Alongside when the game came out, the free DLC was Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Goku as an Awoken skill, and Pure Progress Awoken Hit. Free DLC, and Hit got 3 new super attacks from that and 1 evasive. He gave us 4 skills from 1 single free DLC update. And this is, I want to remind you, this isn't even all the skills Hit can actually do. We still didn't see the full extent of his abilities that he displayed against Goku in the 1v1 before the Tournament of Power in Xenoverse 2. And a lot of the moves he uses in the Tournament of Power, especially the Cage of Time and the big Ki Blast he was going to fire at the end of that, that has not been made into an ultimate attack, even though you could literally just make it as simple as a time-space impact move, but just make it a strike version instead. You know the Supreme Kai of Time and the Ultra Super and Frieza ultimate attacks where they lock you in a Cage of Time and then they hit you with a Ki Blast? Instead, they could just make hits one different, where he locks you in a Cage of Time and then hits you with a Strike Super instead. And you know what? That would probably be stronger because it would be one singular hit, meaning you would have no chance of using an evasive to escape any of that damage. And it'd be in line of how broken they love keeping Hit anyways. So I think this is an ultimate attack that would make sense for him to add, on top of, again, phasing through attacks and all this other cool stuff that we still didn't have in the game. Like, you could say Phantom Fist might be a representation of that, but Phantom Fist was already in Xenoverse 1 as its own separate skill, so it's definitely not a reference to that. Again, a good example is if you look through all the Ultra Super Villain characters, Super Saiyan God Vegeta doesn't have a Ki Blast spamming technique, so they obviously make Big Bang Knuckle alongside Final Rampage because he's also liking a Final Flash despite being a Vegeta character. Then we have Jiren, who's obviously missing his big ultimate attack that he used on Goku towards the end of the Tournament of Power. So even though it was only 1 new skill, they did actually add 1 new skill to him. Goku Black was missing his Scythe in pretty much his whole moveset. Like, somehow we were like almost 7 years into Xenoverse 2 and Goku Black still didn't have his Scythe, which was pretty scary because you already had it in fighters for like half a decade at that point. So they were like, just quickly give him his Scythe, not only at the end of his combo, but as part of a super attack and as part of his ultimate attack. So they really went all in with the Scythe gameplay. And even though Golden Frieza is still missing a ton of moves from the Tournament of Power and from the preliminaries of the Tournament of Power, you know, directly after he gets revived and he fights all of those henchmen alongside Goku, he's missing a lot of his moves, which I'll probably just do for Xenoverse 3, but this time they at least compensated by giving him these really, really cool Time God powers, which I don't think anyone is going to be opposed to having, because they are some of the coolest, most unique, most versatile super attacks in the game, and they're actually also just amazing even in PvP as well. So obviously, now we come to Hit Awoken, where Hit has just been a laughably OP character the entire time Xenoverse has been out. It doesn't really need any more help, but the devs obviously love the character, so they're most likely just going to give him the rest of his moves, whether it be stuff that he didn't use in the Universe 6 tournament originally, like the many different versions of Time Skip, or if we're going to see a new move entirely, like of Ultra Super and Frieza. Hopefully it's not a Jiren case where it's only one new skill and they only add the Cage of Time ultimate attack. That would be kind of disappointing. Maybe they'll even add the hit clones or the key clones that people love to meme when the anime was ongoing. So who knows what they'll actually do with Hit, because that is, you know, just that's a very popular character, and the devs love him too. Like, he has such a high chance of being the last Ultra Super villain character. Well, alongside the Supreme Kai of Time, obviously, who is also another time manipulator who has got completely corrupted in the story. And one thing I did actually want to mention about the Supreme Kai of Time is that it's kind of impossible to tell because we never really get to see what her face looks like. But the color of her hair kind of reminds me of that weird evil version, like that weird mind-controlled version of her from Super Dragon Ball Heroes. I'm not saying that that's what they're going to do with her character, obviously, but I just think that they probably took inspiration from that version of her, because the way that hair color looks, the way her clothes look, with the dark crystals like energy like affecting her color scheme, it kind of reminds me of that. So yeah, her and Hit, they both managed to control over time, and both of them again being corrupted. She's just an extra character, but Hit realistically should be the last Ultra Super villain. I mean, we don't see it happen fully in the trailer, but we do see him getting controlled by the dark power up, and since Jiren is there and he's an actual Ultra Super villain, maybe Hit's gonna be one as well. They're both in the same shot, so maybe, I don't know. This part is just like all speculation because we need more footage, we need more to know. But it'd be really weird if they just skipped on one of the final bosses of Dragon Ball Super, especially when it's a character that Bandai Namco actually loves. They give Hit so much glaze in this game, it's absolutely unreal. They even made him reappear just to fight Ultra Super villain Goku Black. Like, why is he there? If it's not him, then it's most likely, again, just going to be some sort of weird evil super form of Fu. Although, if they do add that, I'm not sure if they would even make that fightable, because when it comes to these Xenoverse 2 final boss adjacent characters, they kind of are never really sure if they want to make them actually, like, you know, playable, because if they can sell, then that's great, but if they can't sell, then they won't even bother doing it. A good example is Final Form Mira still isn't playable in normal matches. Demigra base, he even has a transform state, but you can't even play the transform state in any mode. His base isn't playable in normal matches, it's only playable in training mode as well. Half corrupted through Zamasu, even though he's like not even broken, like he doesn't even have like that many crazy moves or like a insane combo or some sort of like silly gimmick to him. He's not playable either. And he's a character that they could just adjust his size if his size is the issue, because again, it's half corrupted Fusamasu, it doesn't have to be giant. He could just be normal size, like when he was fighting Vegito Blue at first. So if they do make like a super evil, like mega powered up version of Fu, I don't know if it'll even be playable. It'd probably just be the boss, because I want to remind you guys, this is the last DLC of Xenoverse 2. We are going to have a giant boss fight at the end with something. Even when it came to the DLC 6 story, when we did have the super giant boss at the end of the story, it was just a normal version of Fu. It was just Fu, but like, oh, you just got some dark aura around him. And then if you do the Goku version, which is the hard mode version, the final boss is Ultra Instinct Goku, but he's playable because he's Ultra Instinct Goku. He has to be playable. So, yeah, Xenoverse is kind of having a really hard time with these final bosses, because most of the time they're not playable. Again, Cellmax, another great example of that. So I don't think the final boss would be like, or the final character is going to be Super Fu. If the final boss is like a form of Super Fu, sure, but I don't think that would be a playable character if they do make it the boss. I do think that's all I have to say about that. I have recently predicted pretty much every other DLC character coming to the game, other than like Belmont, because Belmont's just a random inclusion. Who's going to even think about that? My only guess for why Belmont is going to be in the game is because he had a model in the Festival of Universes before he got added to the game, but I thought it was just going to be there for display. I've pretty much been right about all the others: Jiren, Broly, Frieza. So I want to say I'm right on this one too, but again, if you guys have differing opinions, please let me know in the comment section down below, because that's a perfect place to end the video. Again, I do hope you guys enjoyed. If you enjoyed, then please leave a like on the video. Don't forget to subscribe, it greatly supports the channel. Again, leave a comment down below about what you think of the characters. Do love you all. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time. Take care and peace. Bye bye.